Have you ever seen a postal carrier walking around your neighborhood with that big bag over their shoulder or a push cart, and you've wondered, could a kid fit in that? Grandma is always bugging us about seeing more of the kids. Could we mail them our baby? And then you probably wonder if you were the first person who thought of that. But since you're listening to Weird World, you probably know the answer is, oh, hell no. This is a story of babies in the mail.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Weird World podcast. This is going to be a weird bit. I'm Carrie.
I'm Dean.
Hey, Dean.
Hi.
This sounds weird.
It is weird. It actually happened. It's real history. It's been verified. It's been snoped. This is true. So we're going back to about 1913 when something really actually in hindsight was incredibly important and I didn't know happened with the post office. On January 1st, 1913, they started their policy of parcel post, which simply meant that the post office was not going to just deliver letters, they were also going to deliver packages.
Right.
The post office had never delivered packages until 1913.
How do people send packages
There
then?
are tons of private delivery services. I had no idea.
Interesting.
What do you think of, is it FedEx? That was the first one.
Oh, I don't know if it was the first.
I mean, you think of that as kind of rising slowly in the 60s and 70s and just exploding in the kind of the 70s and really in the 80s of packages, and then FedEx becoming a huge company and UPS and companies like that becoming huge companies and really kind of taking over, or at least becoming a huge part of the market share for packages. But in the 19th century, that's the only people who delivered packages were private delivery companies, and there were lots of them. When the post office started doing this, it was revolutionary, especially for rural areas. So suddenly these rural people can send packages and receive packages in a way that a lot of those private carriers just didn't do. They didn't service that. There's no money. That's still true, by the way. All the people who bitch and moan about the post office, it's not profitable. It should not run like a business. It's not a business. It's a service for the whole country, because otherwise a lot of people not in major metro areas wouldn't be able to get terrible service, if any, and it'd be very, very expensive. You whiny shits. So shut the fuck up about that for the last time. So this started in 1913, and suddenly all the millions of Americans can take part in goods and services that really couldn't before. And immediately, though, of course, with all good things, there are people who are going to try to game the system.
Yep.
That started right away. People started trying to mail things like eggs, snakes.
Well, wait, was it super cheap?
Yes, like 15 cents, which I think today is not $7 trillion. I'm not even going to say that, but it's not that much money even now.
But it's more than it was to send a letter.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was. So there were to be things like dogs, coffins, stuffed animals, and just weird stuff, dead fish. All kinds of things like that started being mailed. So people started testing the limits right away. As Nancy Pope's head curator of history at the National Postal Museum, she said, the first few years of parcel post service, it was a bit of a mess. She said that I'm going to assume sipping some tea that had lemon in it.
Can I tell you how much 15 cents would be today?
I would like to hear that, yes.
$5.05.
Okay.
That would be nice.
Yeah. It'd be great. And, if it fit under a weight, a certain weight, I think it was like 11 pounds or something like that. If it had a weight limit, if it fit under that, it cost 15 cents.
Yeah. Wow.
So $5 and something cents. Yeah.
Yeah.
So only a few weeks after this policy was instituted and the USPS started mailing parcels, Jesse and Matilda Beagle decided to get in on the action because they decided to mail their 8-month-old son, James Beagle, to his grandmother. Everything I read says the next part of the sentence is the same. It says, who lived just a few miles away in Batavia. Every article I read says, you know what? Not that big a deal. James's grandma was just a few miles away. What's the harm? I swear to God, they all say that line.
Yeah.
There's a lot, just FYI, if you're going to research this yourself, there's tons of cut and paste of these stories. They're all kind of the same.
Yeah.
But baby James did weigh a little bit under 11 pounds, so they mailed him, baby James, to his grandma for 15 cents.
Wow.
They did pay a little bit extra for that. They wanted to insure him, so they paid $50 to insure him. So, which, how much is $50?
That's a lot of money.
That's a very lot of money.
Good God. Okay.
And they say it was only a few miles away, which we'll talk about one second. It's a little weird.
It's over $1,600.
Yeah, that's strange. Who knows if that's true?
Yeah.
But as Jenny Lynch, she's a postal service historian, she said it got some headlines when it happened, probably because it was so cute. Was it? Was that cute? Is cute the word you're thinking for these people who mailed their baby? Even if it's just, quote, just a few miles. Let's not everybody just calm down. On February 19th, 1914, the most famous child mailing occurred when a 4-year-old girl named Charlotte May Pierstoff was mailed. She went on the mail train from Grangeville, Idaho to her grandparents' house. They were 73 miles away.
Wow.
That's a lot long. And her story became legendary. That's the first point people heard about it. I mean, there was some newspaper articles and things like that, but this time it got a lot of attention, got a lot of national attention. And in fact, it was later made into a children's book called Mailing May, which I guess was a big hit. It was a big bestseller at the time. And the reason, what do you think the reason is they're doing this?
To get rid of their kid and send them to grandma?
Incredible. But why? Why are they mailing their child? Because it was cheaper than buying a train ticket on a passenger train. It was significantly cheaper than doing that. So it's like, you know what? And first of all, would you send a 4-year-old or an 8-year-old to, grandma's house or a baby, an 8-month-old on the train? Probably not. So, but they're okay doing it with their friendly neighborhood mail carrier. In this case, a little bit weird because May wasn't just, dumped in the mail, put in a post office box, and they picked her up. Thank God there's a hole in those things so she could breathe. And, on her way, in this case, her mom's cousin was a clerk for the railway mail service, and she accompanied the little baby the entire trip. So she basically, sent it along in the mail to 15 cents, knowing that the cousin would accompany her the entire way and deliver her to the grandma in the 73 miles away. That's probably why that happened. It's probably also why that was allowed to happen, because it was not clear what was, hey, is this okay? Is this legal? But it was happening. It happened at least, from Nancy Pope, the historian, she said it happened at least 7 times that she could account for. Yeah.
And somebody had to really fast write a rule.
Well, kind of, not exactly. You kind of hinted at it a minute ago. The reason they're doing this is cheaper, but the reason they were comfortable doing this because your mail carrier really was kind of someone who was trusted.
Yeah.
And mail carriers were important parts of the community. If you had a sick parent or someone or a sick child and they lived, far away, if you're a sick relative or something like that, you would often just ask the mail carrier, can you do a welfare check?
Yeah.
And they would.
Yeah.
And they would look in on people, they'd look in on households where there was illness or something like that. They were part of the community. And so leaving your child in the care of the mail carrier was not it wasn't as absurd as you think it would be.
It wasn't a stranger.
Nowadays. It was never a stranger.
But here's the thing. Our mail carrier doesn't pick up our letters and take them to their final destination. It goes through a system. So it probably did back then too. Obviously, their mail carrier didn't pick up the baby.
I don't know if that's true. I think they probably did. Certainly 4 miles.
Not to any destination.
No, and we know the railway one, that railway cousin who worked for the railway, the postal railway, rode with her. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, there are, like I said, these stories have been verified. And there are, of course, some great pictures like the ones I'm showing Kara right now. You'll see some post up. They always had these uniforms on. These postal guys, they had almost quasi-military-like uniforms. And he's got a little baby in his bag. There's another one here with the guy, again, a very officious-looking, big mustached post office. This is probably a guy in his 60s who's got a little baby with a parasol and a hat in his mailbox. There's several pictures like that.
Those are obviously very posed.
They were posed. Yeah. Exactly. They weren't fake. They were, it's not true to say they are fake, but they were posed to illustrate these things that were really happening. As I said, happened at least 7 times that have been verified.
Are those the actual children that were mailed?
No, those are not. I don't think they are anyway. Your postal surfer also, by the way, they did kind of like on the down low sometimes already deliver goods like, oh, I really need you to bring this chicken. Or something like that. Really, seriously. So they did occasionally deliver what technically could have been considered parcels.
Yeah.
Because they knew you and they were friends with you. And again, they would do these wellness checks and things like that made them very trusted parts of the community. So you combine it's cheap, you're putting your child in the care of someone that you trust, but yeah, you're right. Who else? Who has other hands were those kids?
Yeah.
I mean, again, these people went 73 miles in one case and 40 miles in another case. So, and those in 1913 and 14.
Yeah.
You know,
and here,
and mainly, by the way, fairly rural areas too.
Yeah. Here, did they do like morning post and afternoon or evening post?
In my readings of Sherlock Holmes stories in Britain, they had about 17 posts a day.
I know
swear to God, it was the 3:15. I mean, are you serious?
Yeah.
They would deliver letters all day long. Very weird. I don't know if it was a morning and obviously there was just one,
because I'm reading a book
I don't know
right now that is in England. It's
Oh my
actually
God.
Liverpool
all the time.
and it's World War leading up to World War II. And they have a morning post and an afternoon post.
Well, at 221B Baker Street, apparently they had 4 or 5 posts every day. I swear they'd have the time of the post. Oh, it was at the 3:15, Watson. Go check.
Well, remember they used to have morning newspaper editions and evening editions too.
I feel like you didn't even notice my Sherlock Holmes accent. But that's fine because it wasn't very good. The Postmaster General at the time, his name was Albert S. Burleson. He heard about one of these incidents and he said, Ooh, I don't think I like what's going on here. This is not good. This cannot end well.
Is that a verbatim quote?
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Mr. Burleson, we have some news about babies being mailed. Ooh, was his response. So he said, nope, we're not going to do that anymore. Here's a newspaper story from the time. By the way, the headline is, Once Babies Sent My Mail. That's the headline. Once babies, that's the kicker is pathetic inquiry as to parcel post worries Postmaster General. Pathetic? Is that the right word? January 16th is, I think, 2014. The mailing of babies by parcel post is a real infant industry. Get it? See what the writer did there?
Yeah.
Which Postmaster General Hitchcock is asked to foster. Why his name is Hitchcock when the article speaks about Burleson, I don't know. Strange. So I think it was earlier than, I think it was before Burleson. In the circumstances of his bachelorhood, Mr. Hitchcock is considering seriously the calling into consultation of experts in the transportation of babies, as a letter which he received today presents to him a mail problem with which he is quite unfamiliar. A, that's all one sentence. B, it starts, in the circumstances of his bachelorhood?
Yeah.
Who do you care that the Postmaster General is not married?
That's the worst written article I've ever heard in my life.
In a newspaper. I think that was in the New York Times. I'm not
Wow.
That was trash. But also, I think they're trying to imply that he was gay. Anyway, this is back to the article. To add to his embarrassment, the letter contains a note of genuine pathos, which appeals strongly to the Postmaster General. This is the letter, identically as it was phrased and punctuated. Like he's better. Like he's going to write sick next to this thing all the time. So this is the postmaster heard about it because he got a letter from a guy in Georgia. It was a headline, Fort McPherson, Georgia. Postmaster General, Washington, D.C. Sir, I have been corresponding with a party in PA, Pennsylvania, about getting a baby to raise, parentheses, our home being without one. No, in parentheses. He's trying to get a baby by now. May I ask you what specifications to use in wrapping so it, parentheses, baby, in parentheses, would comply with regulations and be allowed shipment by parcel post as the Express Co. are too rough in handling yours. I lost the train there.
Yeah.
The Express Company is too rough, maybe? In handling. In handling, no period. Yours, right next to it rather than the next line, meaning yours. And then the name, the article actually says this. The name signed to the letter is withheld at the request of Mr. Hitchcock, the Postmaster General. The rest of as babies, in the opinion of the Postmaster General, do not fall within the category of bees and bugs. What's that word? God damn it. Everybody hates it now because AI does it.
M-dash.
M-dash, yeah. So I'm going to start over again.
Okay.
As babies As babies, in the opinion of the Postmaster General, do not fall within the category of bees and bugs, M-, the only live things that may be transported by mail, M-, he is apprehensive that he may not be of assistance to his correspondent. May not be apprehensive about it? By the way, the bottom, I don't know what it means. The bottom in all caps says, needs children's clothing. This is weird. This isn't a newspaper. It's not a real newspaper. I don't know what it has to do with anything. Very weird. Anyway, that was the Postmaster General at the time. Hitchcock, not Albert Burleson, being very troubled by someone trying to get a baby delivered to him by mail. Apparently trying to
buy a baby.
Yeah, buy a baby or otherwise acquire a baby because this household doesn't have one.
No, yeah.
So,
and every household needs one.
Yeah, obviously. I'm going to guess farmhand. That's what almost all adoptees were in the rural areas. So by 1914, the Postmaster General, Albert Burleson, he said, nope, we're going to put an end to this. Humans are not considered the kind of things that fall into the parcel post.
They're not bees or bugs.
Not bees or bugs. Yep. But it didn't stop people from doing it anyway. In 1915, a 6-year-old named Edna Neff was sent 720 miles from Pensacola, Florida to her father's home in Christiansburg, Virginia. That was the longest journey that anybody can find of a kid going by mail. It was one of the last ones. It may have been even been second to the last because in August 1915, a 3-year-old named Maud Smith made what people think was the very last child being sent by U.S. Post. Her grandparents, in this case, mailed her 40 miles through Kentucky to visit her sick mother. So I'm assuming she must be staying with her grandparents.
Yeah.
Mom gets sick. Shouldn't you go see her mom? She might not make it. Maybe they didn't say that to the 3-year-old. But hey, how about you go visit your mom? So let's mail you. We are too busy to make that journey. The superintendent.
And we don't need to see our sick
Nah. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. These are some terrible grandparents. John Clark, he was the superintendent of the Cincinnati division of the Railway Mail Service. He looked into it. He thought, again, I think he also said, ooh, I don't think I like this. Is this still going on? I thought Burleson said no. People are still doing this. So he went and he talked to the postmaster in Caney, Kentucky, where the child was put into the mail and sent along its way, and said, why did you let this happen? You know that's not legal anymore. And we don't know what he said. We don't even know if he lost his job or not, but he was apparently okay with it. He thought it was the right thing to do. But as late as 1920 in June, the first assistant postmaster general, John C. Coons, he rejected 2 people who applied to have their children sent by mail. He said, because now they can't be classified as, quote, harmless live animals, unquote. So, because children are, they're going to do some harm. I think that's fair to say. Here's the story of that, by the way, a little bit color to that. It was a story about the parcel post that was the Maud Smith case in August 1915. So here is the story as headline: Parcel post baby makes trip upon L&E Railroad. Clerk accepts child despite doubt as to legality of act. This is Kentucky, Jackson, Kentucky, August 31. Quote, anything can happen in Jackson, end quote, said a traveling man today as he watched a great crowd follow the mail wagon from the L&E depot as mail carrier James Haddix carried a parcel post baby to the Jackson post office. So it was an event.
Yeah.
This was like, oh, hey, the baby's being married. Let's go check it out. We've got nothing else to do.
It would look strange.
It would be strange. Apparently word got out, though. Who knows if it wasn't. I don't know. Some of these you think they maybe with not, they knew it was a story and they felt the baby was safe for some reason. Back to the article. The child was seated on a pack of mail sacks between the mail carrier's knees and was busily eating away out of some candy it carried in a bag. In the other hand, it carried a big red apple, and it smiled when the curious folks waved their hands and called to her. The child wore a pink dress to which was sewed a shipping tag covered on one side with 33 cents in stamps. Prices have gone up, apparently. Yeah. And on the other hand, had the following words, quote, to Mrs. Selena Smith, care Jim Haddix, Jackson, Kentucky, from R.K. Madden, Caney, Kentucky, end quote. The child was put on the O&K train at Caney, Morgan County, and arrived at Jackson at 11 o'clock. So wasn't that long?
Yeah.
Eating candy and an apple.
Mm-hmm.
On her dress, the mail clerk had pinned the following letter, quote, to Postmaster Hatton, August 31st, 1915, Postmaster Jackson, Kentucky. Dear sir, baby received 8:15, Caney, Kentucky, by postmaster in person. I doubt the legality of the sending, but it was put on train and I must deliver and report. Respectfully, J.T. Sebastian, R.P. Clerk, end quote. The girl weighed 30 pounds, was 3 years old, and her name was Maud Smith. That's the end of the article. That's the last known baby mailing in the U.S. in 1915.
And so that costs less than $15.
Yeah, it was cheap.
Yeah.
They mailed the baby all the way across a good chunk of Kentucky. Had to see the sick kids, sick parents, sick mom. Right?
Didn't feel the need
nope,
to ensure Maud.
Absolutely not. So that's the story. It was a great period, really something in American history we can all be proud of, I believe, that happened in about 1913 and 1915. People still trying later. You have to wonder. Another kind of tone of some of this thing is that some of these articles, I think we love the idea of babies being called it, even though you clearly know the gender of the baby, but you still call babies it. Wasn't that pretty common back then?
Probably.
All babies were its.
I mean, they were property.
Yeah, I guess, but still. I don't know.
They weren't really property, but they were treated like property. We didn't care about our kids like we do now.
The infant mortality was very high. You couldn't get too attached.
I guess.
Yeah, and then you took a picture when they're dead, and you held their eyes open, and it was fine. It was you remembered them. The other thing I noticed was that they also say things like, how they were off. Here's a quote from one of the articles. Additionally, these children were never simply dropped off at the post office and placed in mail sacks. They were often accompanied by trusted postal workers, making their trips more akin to a modern-day courier service than a traditional postal delivery. End quote in that article.
Well, obviously.
Wait, hold on. So it was just fine? It was really no different than all those companies right now that deliver your baby someone else in the company? Oh, wait, that's not a thing. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's weird. I'm not going to say who wrote that. It may have been the Smithsonian. It rhymes with Hithsmonian. There's a Smithsonian article on this that's really badly written.
Really?
I think it might be AI or partially AI. There's another, I won't say it, the source, but it's a well-known source where people can do their own writing. It's AI. It's trash.
Medium?
Shut up. I wasn't going to say it. But if it wasn't AI... It's like the writer is trying to mimic AI. It's not good. Again, there's not much to this. It did happen. There were a bunch of pictures. The pictures were posed, but it happened at least 7 times. People mailed babies, mailed small children across parts of the country. Crazy. Yeah. And that last part, maybe we should start a business. Picking up, sure, we'll take your kid across the country. No problem. It'll cost $15,000, but let's think about it.
Okay.
All right. So if you don't hear from us again, that's what we're doing.
If you need to mail a child.
Babies aren't to us.
weirdworldpodcast@gmail.com.
It'll be called Return to Sender, please. So that is our weird bit for the day. We hope you enjoyed that.
Thanks, Dean.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.